Today's video is about being at one in nature. Let's all just feel that energy of nature around us. Come on! Whew, friggin' mosquitoes. Okay, seriously guys, mosquitoes are not that bad. I think I killed the only one that was around for a few miles. I want to do a little different video today. We've been doing a lot of squatching this summer. I've been putting out 2 videos a week for you guys, and I've enjoyed all of it, so that's a bonus when we're getting out and having fun, camping. I love all of that. But I have to be introspective, retrospective, whatever. I have to think about, the future of the channel, and just, goals and things that Gary want to do. So today is going to be a little different video. It's going to be more of not a spirituality video with Gary, but a bit of an enlightening video, I guess, with Gary, where I've been on the sidelines, things I don't put on the channel all the time. We've talked about it in the past. I do a lot of psychology reading, and I do a lot of spirituality reading and watching videos, things like that, trying to open my mind. Do a lot of cognitive training on the side to keep myself at a good level. As I've mentioned in the past on the channel, I've gone through depression, I have anxiety, and I find that if you get feeling at a good level and you stop doing the things that made you feel better, it's very easy to slide back into that anxiety or depression. So I always try to maintain a nice level, do a bit of cognitive training, be thankful for things, say a little morning prayer, say a little evening prayer. And by that I don't mean you have to talk to God. I talk to family members and things, just to clear things in my head, or I go for long walks and think about things. I wanted to show you guys, so this is the last book I finished. This was a couple weeks ago. Pretty light read, not a thick one. Debbie Ford. Okay, so what I do is I go to the used bookstore and I basically just let the spirits guide me, run the fingers down through the self-help section, psychology section, spirituality section, whatever I'm feeling. This was where my finger stopped, okay? The dark side of the light chasers. And actually this book was friggin' awesome because it kind of fit right in with some online cognitive training that I was doing. Just things to teach you about dealing with anxieties, how to put things in order and to be moving forward, to be taking care of things. Don't start to address something and then leave it when you feel better. What this book talks about is that all of us have a dark side and a light side, right? If you are a organized person, then you also have a side that might be a procrastinating side, right? For every trait we have the opposite trait, right? If we are compassionate, we can also be very self-centered, right? We have all these traits, and they list hundreds of traits in this book. And what the author is trying to get you to realize in this book, and you do exercises as well, is that we are made up of all of these traits, good and bad, and that we can't ignore the bad traits, that they can be helpful in certain situations in our life. We have to address that we own these traits and make them part of ourselves to be whole. Okay, that's the whole gist of this book. Okay, I thought it was a fantastic book. Maybe she goes into scenarios from clientele and things that I wonder if they're made up, but she's using them to make a point, right? Sally had this trait, and then we also showed her that she had the opposite trait, and she incorporated it into her life and she felt better. But there are cool mind exercises, a lot of meditative exercises in this book. And if you feel guilty, which I feel guilty a lot, I mean, I'm sure we all do, right? Oh, I snapped at my kids today, or I got my wife's hand stuck in the trailer door and then we argued. You guys know that one, right? Because it was on the channel. So if you feel guilty and things, this kind of teaches you to accept that you're only human. All parts of you are human. So if anyone's looking for a good read to, think about things a little deeper and accept all parts of yourself, this is a great one. Oh, dude. Okay, okay. Oh, I know. I know. Nope, watch the camera. Okay. Oh. And so it's great for me to think about these things and do all of this training, but I also like to share it because in my journaling exercises, this is my journal my daughter bought me, plans for world domination. Well, I scratched out domination and it's plans for world salvation because that's the kind of guy I am. So I wanted to share just one exercise that I did with you guys because it relates to the channel. And it's where you journal and you actually think deep. You know, what does your soul want? Because that's the point in life I'm at where I know what I want. We all know what we want, I think. We just have to acknowledge it. If we sit down and meditate for an hour and think hard about it, this list came pretty easy to me. I'm going to read you guys Gary's Unfrequented World list of my heart desires. Okay, so this is me opening up, sharing to you guys. And I think it's a great exercise and I just want to share it to show you guys, you know, I'm trying to let you guys in more and more. This is our, oh God, I think this is our 9th year on YouTube, right? So I'm trying to communicate with you guys more. I read all the messages. Any negative Nellies, they get booted right away. I don't read that stuff because, you know, it's a hard thing to go through 300 great messages and then you get one real downer that just kicks you in the stomach, and you know the one that sticks with you for the whole day is that one downer. So, but I'm not going to let that get to me, and you know, as soon as I start reading one and it's negative, I delete it and I block those people now. And by blocking, what that does is it just doesn't allow their posts to be seen by everyone else in the community. It's not going to poison the whole community. They can still watch the videos. I can't do anything about that. They can still thumbs down me. That's where the thumbs down come from on the channel. But we just don't have to listen to the negativity, right? And that's what I'm not going to allow on my channel. So Gary's Heart Desires. Here's the list. Adventure, travel, photography, videography, exploring, learning, mystery, sharing, storytelling, creating, knowledge, spirituality and understanding. I grouped them together, I don't know why. Nature and humor. Okay, so that was my list. And if you guys have been watching this channel for any amount of time, I think we check those boxes off regularly on the channel. So I'm doing a good job through my YouTube hitting those goals. Now, does Gary have a real job? Yeah, Gary lives in the real world. He's raising a family, he has a wife, he has a real job. Sometimes I have 2 other jobs. Right now, thanks to COVID, I only have one. I work for my wife, right? We run a clinic. You guys know that she's a physician, so it can be stressful, and I kind of limit my time at this age in my life. I spent 20 years working underground and every other job, you know, that needed to be done. And you just come to a point when you realize there's more to life. And that's the point that I've been in for 5 or 6 years now. And that's why I read these books, and that's why I try to share with you guys. And you guys gave me a great list of books last time. Both of these books were on the, well, the authors, sorry, I'll say the authors were on the list. I don't know if these books were on the list. But Debbie Ford, and then I'll show you the book I'm currently reading in a minute. One more thing about the journaling. You're supposed to come up with a kind of like a guiding phrase that you can say to yourself every morning or think about every morning and work towards as a goal for your, you know, to achieve throughout the day or a week, or if you're making videos. Here's what I've come up with. Seek out adventure down paths less traveled into the unknown, guided by passion and excitement with the open-eyed wonder of a child. And that's what I want. I want to feel excitement about everything I do on this channel. Every adventure. When I go to the swamp with Jen, I want to be excited about it. When I go metal detecting, I want to be excited and about it, whether I find good things or not. I want to have humor in my videos, and I try to present that, and I try to be that. Okay, I guess that's the whole moral of it, is not only do you read about these things and think about them, but you need to incorporate them into your life or into our YouTube channel, right? And I try to do that, okay? Here's the book I'm currently reading right now. It's an old one, okay? Many people have heard of this book, okay? The Road Less Traveled. Now, the reason I'm reading this, even though it's old, I find it fascinating. Again, this was another one, ran my finger down the psychology section, and part 1 is this book. He wrote this book in his 40s, and then part 2 he wrote in his 60s. And I think that Scott Peck actually died in his late 60s. He didn't live that long. But the reason I grabbed this book and wanted to read it is it's very well known. I've never read it. It takes clinical experience, the 20-some years that he's had, and he basically, you know, tells you how to... It's a new psychology of love, traditional values, and spiritual growth, right? So it's his life's guide, his work, 20 years or whatever he had up to that point in psychology in this book. Why I find that fascinating is the second book is the next 20 years. So I want to see if any of his ideals, any of his life lessons, morality, anything that he thinks in this book was worth writing down, if that changed in the second one. People change over time, I know that. If I think back to who I was when I was 20, you know, I'm not the same person. So in this book, he's very old school too, right? So it's all about discipline, and I kind of agree with the process. He talks about delay of gratification, okay? And when they break it down and they tell you you're taught this from an early age, he's absolutely right. If you're old school, if you were raised in the early 80s, born in the 70s like I was, this is how it was. This is how grandparents raised you. This is how I was raised. I'm not very far into this book, but a lot of the things he talks about people doing, structuring their lives the way they do it, you know, that there has to be pain to be gained, that you have to suffer a little bit to enjoy things in life. I think that's where this is going, okay? I'm not 100% sure. That's where it seems to be. Delay of gratification, you know. Don't go out there for the quick reward all the time. There is a process, and you have to suffer through the process. That is his message that I'm getting in the first 3 chapters, okay? That's kind of how I've lived my life. I'm starting to change that a little bit. I'm trying to be a little kinder to myself, love myself a little more. That's a huge one, guys, loving yourself. The book that I read before this, which I showed you guys, I don't have it here, I forget the title. That book was all about learning to love yourself. And I've been very hard on myself, right? I always tried to be the best student, be the best grandson or the best son, top marks, best guy at work, you know, have the best sales numbers or whatever job I was doing. That's a lot of stress. And by the time I reached 36, off a cliff, burnout. And that's why Gary does YouTube. So I'm trying to be as open as I can with you guys. This is where Gary is. You know, if you're down the same path as me, guys, try to find some humor in your life. Find some nature in your life. That will help. Exercise is a huge one for me. Sometimes I go a little overboard. You know, I play squash with my buddy Tim 3 times a week. It started out as an hourly thing. Then it turned into a 2-hour death match thing. So we actually haven't gone back since COVID shut the Y down, but everything's open now. We're supposed to be starting next month. I think I'm going to go into it again of the mentality of let's go for an hour and have fun. We don't have to go in there and kill each other for 2 hours. I'm getting too old for that. The body doesn't recover from, I mean, I love it. I'm still super competitive. My 12-year-old told me the other day at ping pong, she beat me and then she slammed the ball down at me when she won. And she said, I get that from you. And all I could do was laugh and say, yeah, you did get that from me. So anyway, it's kind of a different video for the channel, but hey, it's my channel, right? So if there's anything that you guys want to share, any books, as always, put them in the comments below. I write them all down. So every time I get a new suggestion that I haven't had before, I add it to the list and I slowly make my way through. Highly, highly recommend the Debbie Ford book right here. It's a pretty light read, like I said. And then this one, yeah, I mean, from what I've read so far, it's a little old. It was written in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, 70s. But it's very famous, this book. So I'm excited to read both parts and just kind of analyze it and break it down and see where it goes. So what are you guys reading right now? What do you recommend? And then the journaling is a big part of it, right? If you read the books and you don't do the exercises, you are missing out. So I can highly recommend, you know, do the steps that they tell you to do. At first you might go, oh, this is kind of nonsense. Think of myself going into an elevator 7 floors down and within myself and going into my garden and building a garden and meditating there, right? There's another mosquito. Seriously, there is. Oh, come on. Yeah, so you might say, oh, this is weird nonsense, right? Just go with it, right? I'm a very analytical science type guy, but as I've gotten older, I've turned more to spirituality and opening myself up. And I gotta tell you, I feel so much better, guys. Not denying that there is more to this world than the physical reality that we know and see. In school, you know, evolutionary biology, that's when it all turned for me. That's when I started realizing things aren't as they seem, right? When you tell me that this plant grows and on its leaves it grows little pods that look like butterfly eggs to prevent a butterfly from coming and landing on it to lay eggs, you have to question, if this plant has never been here before and it's a plant, it doesn't think. Plants don't have instinct. So how does this plant know to produce something to save it from a butterfly that it's never been attacked from before, right? These are the things that I started breaking down and thinking. And 20 years ago, if you had asked me if there was a creator or a God, I would have said absolutely not. We are evolutionary based beings. 100% I was on that train of there really isn't a God. I was always kind of, it's weird, I was always kind of spiritual. I would talk to past family members and I feel that their energies and kind of know that, as we've talked about. But if I sat down and thought about, is there a one true God that created everything, I would have said no. Now in my 40s, I'm like, I don't know. There is so much more that I don't know. And I think you have to be open to all the possibilities, guys. I certainly am. So thanks for joining me, guys. Pick up one of those 2 books, go through it, do the journaling exercises, send me messages anytime, leave comments, you know, positive stuff, guys. Appreciate hearing from all of you. And in the future, we're going to do more of these as Gary continues on. I just like opening up. I like sharing what I'm learning. Thanks for watching, guys. Are you going to share that stick with me? Oh, thank you. Bring it here, buddy. I would love to chew on a stick. Bring it here. Oh, you greedy bugger. This is Gage's version of meditating in nature.